out this week, whether you're a real flying pilot or a flight simmer, do you ever think about what's underneath you? Well, we look down.
You're trying to fly then?
Yeah, I am. It's very nice. I never knew it was so impressive. We're still in the air, which I see as a good thing.
Exactly. So the moment we land, then you tell me the truth, right?
No. I think, it's all going very steady. We're being very lucky with the conditions today, too. It's actually a great day for flying. It's beautiful up here. That's very good. Enough about how I'm not scared to death of Rick's flying. Let's get some news out of the way first before we take a look back at last week. Now, you may remember the days of drugs, sex, and rock and roll where the band jumped in their grotty old van and went on tour. Well, yeah, you guessed it. Things have moved on a bit, and now they're more like jumping in their jets or their aircraft to travel around and tour. It may sound like a bit of a joke, but it's not. The Flying Musicians Association has been formed, and they'll be kicking off their tour very soon. We're just wondering where the group is going.
Interesting one coming out of Japan, actually. Obviously, we all heard of Serious Aircraft, right? We had an email not that long back, actually, from a Japanese viewer saying that it was actually quite difficult flying in Japan. There were lots and lots of rules and regulations, even more so than in many other places. And yet, Cirrus are now setting up an agreement with, I think it's Lotus Air, and they're actually going to distribute Cirrus SR-22s and all the other Cirrus range actually over there. So if you heard anything different, if things have changed, I'd be fascinated to know.
Well, moving on a little bit, now I think we've heard an awful lot about flying cars, and enough, I'm sick of it personally. But here's another one! Makers Carter has some rather novel ideas based around autogyros, and this one looks something out of the movie 2001. Interesting to see that they have a picture of it right by a gas station. Not in one because it kind of pales into significance when your spotty worker tells you to turn off your mobile phone when you could be driving your way through the pumps, really, isn't it? Right, I think it's my turn, isn't it? I should be able to fly fullflap.tv viewers for a bit, don't you think?
Sure.
I'm poised.
No.
Rick won't let me fly. I'm really good at it. But never mind. In the meantime, let's look back at last week, and we went for that fantastic trip with John Snyder in his Mosquito helicopter.
Fantastic, isn't it, watching that Mosquito? I've said it 100 times already, I'd love to have a go in that one. But the closest thing you can do there, if you haven't got one, is get his DVD. I know it's advertised on fullflap.tv because he gave us so much help in producing that stuff. We were delighted to help him out and work with him as well. So it's fantastic to watch it. And also, there's an auto-rotation he does, which is sort of practice engine failure. And amazing the way he puts it down the ground so precisely. Amazing one to watch, it really is.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And also last week, we had a look at how to fly a wing walker with me on top.
I'm so used to a wing walker being there. I mean, for all the years that I've been doing it, I'm just completely comfortable with a wing walker up there. Because actually, it doesn't really alter the way the aircraft flies, particularly anyway. To give you an example, the trim settings are much the same as you would have. Obviously, the climb performance is reduced, and obviously, it's a drag. Having somebody up there is a drag. You were a drag.
Oh, no!
But actually, I'm so used to it that I feel comfortable. I can tell the difference, of course, between somebody of your frame, ideal wing walker size, and somebody a lot larger. We're limited to about 13 stone and 6 foot-ish. And then you absolutely know the difference. You can tell somebody's fairly heavy up there. But ultimately, there's hardly any difference.
But what factors do you have to consider when you've got someone on top of the plane?
Okay, it's the drag more than anything else. The takeoff run will obviously be a little bit longer because of the drag. The rate of climb will be affected for exactly the same reasons. But today we had half tank of fuel. You're quite a light person. The takeoff run, for example, I was airborne in 300-ish yards. Obviously, kept it down, let the speed build up. I would have said a 50-foot clearance, for example, 500 yards, no problem at all. And then the rate of climb, roughly 420 to 450 feet a minute, as opposed to a normal rate of climb on this, which would be about 550.
Okay. So, like, when I was up there today, what sort of speeds were we going at?
You were roughly, once we got established, once we were up to maybe 300 or 400 feet, which is where I start the display, we were climbing at 80 miles an hour, leveled off, and we were around about 90 to 100 miles an hour for most of the time. Obviously, if I do a zoom, then I'm going down to maybe 135, 140 miles an hour. Most of your fly paths were 85, 90, 100 miles an hour.
So when you've got someone up there, because I know when you have the display people, the proper people, the experts, they do move around a bit. Does that pose any problems?
Not really at all. The only thing they actually can do legally is to climb out of the front seat in flight and climb up into the rig and strap themselves on, and the reverse of that. They can actually climb back in for the landing. And there is a bit where we do a flyby and somebody's standing not quite back in the seat, half in, half down and waving. I'm sure you've seen it. Again, it hardly affects the aircraft. What it affects is the person there, so we slow down. So averagely about 80 miles an hour. We keep the speed to around about 80 for that.
So that's it for this week, but if you stay with us for just a few more moments, we'll see what Rick's landing's like. There's the runway, just a little bit away now. Feel the tension in the aircraft.
There's no tension.
Nearly there. It's exciting. We're not down.
I know we're not. Well, we are now.
Oh, did camera barely moved when we touched down then?
Okay, you don't need to film anymore.
That's the face of relief that he didn't kill the talent.
Hey, I'm the pilot, you're not yet.